Hi, I'm Lisa Garr, and welcome to The Aware Show, a weekly show that brings you transformational tools and techniques that you can actually use today to inspire your positive growth and change in yourself and in others. Every single week, I will bring you new, cutting-edge information that will help you improve the quality of your life in any way you choose. Do you want incredible health, connected relationships, flourishing finances, cutting-edge science? Whatever it is, consider The Aware Show to be your trusted place for lifelong learning, because for over a decade, I have built trusting relationships with my guests and with my audiences. And if you're just new to The Aware Show, or if you've been a fan for a long time, I always encourage you to listen to your own truth and to stay aware.
I want to talk with you about telling people what you do from your story rather than just a typical elevator speech of what it is that you do. So in my example, I host a radio show and it's on 5 different platforms, and I've hosted it for 18 years. And it's about transformational media. Does that really resonate with you? Do you really know what that means? Instead, I can tell it to you this way. Several years ago, I had a tragic accident causing myself a severe amount of brain damage. I proceeded to heal that, and I started a radio show teaching people how I did that, interviewing experts and scientists in the field of neuroscience. And 18 years later, I'm still enjoying empowering other people to know that they have choice and change is possible. That's telling what I do for my story versus just the elevator speech, the 30-second speech. What is your story? Can you tell people what you do based on your story, your purpose, your passion as to why you do what you do? It's so much more powerful, and then you attract the right people into your business, and then you impact them and they impact others. It's a great way of telling people what it is that you do. Enjoy.
Hello and welcome to The Aware Show. I am Lisa Garr, and I'm so happy that you joined us today, because when you do some research, or you actually start to dive into what it means to develop yourself personally, this word personal development, it gets a little bit thrown around in our industry, but what does that really mean? It means to get into your personality, the way that you do things, the behaviors that you have, the reasons, the whys, and give it meaning again so that you want to grow as a human being. And when you improve your life, the lives of people around you improves as well. For your family, for your coworkers, for your employees, for whatever it is. So I think it's of huge value to develop yourself personally, AKA personal development. And that is what my guest today, Dr. John Demartini, is an absolute specialist at. He is a human behavior specialist, which means he loves people and why they do the things they do and helps them do that even better. He helps them in business. It helps them personally. He has been doing this. He's one of the world's leading authorities on human behavior and personal development for many years, many courses. Welcome, John Demartini. Thank you for joining me.
Well, thank you for having me. It's good to catch up again.
Yes, absolutely. You've been in love with the human spirit for a very long time, haven't you?
Yes, this is my 45th year of teaching.
Who teaches for 45 years and doesn't like it? I mean, you must really love it.
Well, I do. I can't think of anything else I'd rather be doing. I started when I was 17. I've been teaching since I was 18, but I started on the personal development really about 17. And I've been teaching all these years. So I've been very grateful to have that opportunity to do that. I get to travel the world and inspire and do whatever I can to research human behavior and share what my findings show.
Well, most 17-year-olds don't even, especially these days, know who they are. How did you start in that, just for a brief introduction for our audience?
Well, I had a close brush with nearly dying when I was 17. And a lovely lady assisted me in the recovery process and led me to a yoga class, of all things. And one night in 1 hour with one message, one man named Paul C. Bragg shared an absolutely inspiring presentation that touched me so deeply. And he helped me believe that I could overcome my learning problems because I had learning disabilities. And I had been a high school dropout and I lived on the streets at the time.
Ah.
So he inspired me that night to believe that maybe, just maybe, I could learn to read, overcome my learning problems, and be intelligent. I never thought I was going to be intelligent until that night. And then I gained I guess you could say, a hope and a vision that night to do that. And my idea at 17, an intelligent person's a teacher. So I set out on a dream to, I wanted to travel the world. I wanted to teach. And I wanted to do what this man had done for me with as many people as I could. And I guess I've never stopped since. I can't think of anything else I'd rather be doing. I love doing it.
Are you still in touch with the meaning that that gave you way back then? Do you operate from that a lot?
Yes. I wrote my mission statement right before my 18th birthday with his head. And I have refined that by editing it, by adding a word, playing with it, adding a phrase, tweaking it 70 times in 45 years. So I have the same mission statement and all the earlier versions of it, all the way back before we even had computers. So I have all the versions and all the transformations of that mission statement. But that mission statement, the essence of it is still there. And what I do is I full-time travel around the world. I'm probably the most traveling speaker in the world because I literally travel full-time. I live on a ship. And so if I'm not sailing on my ship, I'm traveling by flight, but I'm constantly moving and going city to city, country to country, probably 60 countries a year on average, and just speaking.
You must love it. So can you give us the essence of what that mission statement is?
Well, the original mission statement is that I started with what I knew and I let what I knew grow. And that was that I wanted to travel the world. I wanted to step foot in every country on the face of the earth. I wanted to share my research findings, studying anything in human behavior to maximize human awareness, potential, and the evolution of human consciousness. And I wanted to organize that information and present that information as concisely as I could to assist people to do something extraordinary with their life, like he had done with me. So the mission statement today is a more elaborate thing because it applies to all 7 areas. I want to help people wake up their inspired mission. I want them to have wake up their genius, achieve a global business, build financial independence, have the relationship that they deserve and desire, go out and do something that's a leader and making a difference and social impact, and also having vitality and doing well. I'm going on 63 and I'm doing pretty good, I feel. And I want people to be able to empower all areas of life. Any area of our life we don't empower, somebody's going to overpower us. To inspire us with frustration, to empower.
Yep.
So I'm a firm believer that we have the capacity to do that. I've been dedicated to the skills of that all these years and just do whatever I can to share with as many people as I can around the world that message.
Well, that is beautiful. And to continue with 45 or 47 years of having this as your through line is probably not only a part of your healing, but your mastery as well. So as you're traveling, do you notice that the problems that human beings have are the same all around the world?
Yes, there are slight variations in cultures that people kind of are infiltrated by traditions and conventions. But overall, I believe that people want to be inspired by their life. They want to have incredible fulfillment. They want to be somebody that says, thank you, I love you in the mirror, and thank you, I love life. They want to wake up their creative, original ideas that serve people, make a difference that way. They want to have a creative mind. They want to have a business that's viable. Some people don't. Their business is raising a family, but that's still a business. They're creating products. Children are going to the world and making a difference. They're still a product. So I think every human being in every culture has more similarities than differences in that way. And I've been in many different countries. I've been in 129 countries and to speak. And so I would say that there's way more similarities than there are differences in people.
And do you think, so there's a lot of similarities, but are the challenges kind of the same? Where they are?
Yeah, I mean, each individual lives by a set of priorities, a set of values, things that are most important to least important in their life. Mm-hmm. And that is unique. It's like a fingerprint. And each individual must master the skill of setting goals and intentions that are aligned and congruent with what's truly most valuable to them, and not compare themselves to others, humble themselves in comparison, minimize themselves, and live in the shadows as copycats. They have to stand on the shoulders of giants and give themselves permission to shine.
Mm-hmm.
And so around the world, that is a challenge, because the pressure of the outside world to project their values onto you and to be able to overcome that and not fear the rejection and not fear of not fitting in, people have to break through and transcend what Kohlberg describes as the primary subordinations that people have. And if a person will give themselves permission to be unique and be authentic and be integral to what they really value and structure their life by priority and learn the art of delegating lower priority things so they don't weigh themselves down with self-depreciating activities, they can shine and go and empower any area that's really meaningful to them. And they can even learn. I teach people how to link all areas in their life to whatever is truly valuable to them so they can excel and expand in each of these areas. And it's very inspiring watching what people can do. I mean, whether I'm in Tokyo or Tehran or India or China, it doesn't matter. Watching people empower their lives is one of the most inspiring, tear-jerking, heart-opening, fulfilling things, as you know, in this business. That's what it's all about.
Do people usually think they're going after the right thing, but it doesn't really align with who they are, what their values are? I mean, can you give an example of that?
The majority of people, like let me give you an example. I sometimes stand in front of large audiences, tens of thousands of people sometimes, and I ask them, how many of you want to be financially independent? And every hand goes up.
Right.
And I said, how many of you are financially independent? And 99% of those hands go down. And I said, not everybody has the hierarchy of values that will lead them to financial independence. But if you have a higher value on spending money on consumables and depreciables than you do on buying assets that put money in your pocket, and you keep putting money out of your pocket, and you have a higher value on immediate gratification than long-term vision and wealth building. One is exciting and dopamine inducing, which is consumerism, and the other is basically a slow, methodical accumulation of wealth. If you don't have a higher value on really, truly wealth building, you're going to beat yourself up with internal self-depreciation, expecting to, when you don't have the values for it. So you have to really be honest with yourself. I put together a value determination process. It's on my website. It's a complimentary thing to help people discern what's really valuable to them, what their life demonstrates, not what they fantasize. And until they get clear and authentic about what they really value and structure their life and orchestrate a life around what's really valuable to them, they'll try to live in the shadows of others. Emerson said, envy is ignorance and imitation is suicide. We're here not to shadow anyone. We're here to inspire lives and shine. And yes, that's the biggest obstacle that I see around the world, people trying to be somebody they're not.
Putting value on things like homes and vacations and well, not necessarily homes because those could appreciate, but stuff, vacations, things that don't have an ROI, basically, right?
They don't understand the difference between an asset and a liability. They don't understand how money works and how wealth building is. And they have a fantasy that they want the lifestyles of the rich and famous without the actions and service and saving and investment that brings it. I mean, I'm financially independent. I could live on my ship. I have a big ship. It's a huge ship. And this thing, I could live on there for the 120 years probably. But I love teaching. This is what I love doing. I love traveling and teaching. So this is what I do. But many people have a fantasy about these great lifestyles, but they're not willing to go out and make a difference and serve people in a way that has fair exchange, that's sustainable to earn an income, and then make sure that they value themselves and value wealth building to save and invest a portion of it so it's working for them so they can become a master of it instead of being a slave.
So these are not only wealth building tips and techniques, this is the basic value underneath the wealth building that allows people to get to that next level.
Exactly, because if you don't have, your hierarchy of values dictates your financial destiny. If I look at your values, I can tell you where you're headed financially. And I've interviewed literally thousands of people with their values with my value determination process, from the extremely wealthy billionaires, over 30 of them, to also down into people that are impoverished. And there is definitely a distinction in the value systems. And your values dictate how you perceive the world, make decisions in the world, and act in the world. And so you tell me what your values are, I tell you what you're going to perceive in the world. your reality is going to be filtered that way. You're going to make decisions according to whatever you think is going to give you the greatest advantage or disadvantage to that highest value. And you're going to be acting accordingly, because that's where you're going to feel natural. So anytime you expect to live outside what your values dictate, you're going to end up self-depreciating yourself, which then makes you erode the possibility of receiving and feeling worthy to receive and accumulate money.
Okay, well, what about things that don't have a direct ROI, or the ROI is not equatable in money? So like a family vacation where it builds memories and it builds bonds and so forth, but there's no upside on that. Or even a ship. In your case, you have, ships don't tend to appreciate, do they? They have maintenance and crews and so forth, right?
My ship is tripled now since I've owned the ship 16 years. So
okay, so you have a different value then on that.
Well, I structured it in such a way where it's going up in value, and I rent out the ship and use that ship as an asset.
Aha.
When I'm not there. So, and even when I'm there, I rent out. So it's a big ship. So what I don't want to put money into something that's not giving me money back in my pocket, or otherwise you're squandering money and you're not wisely managing money. So yes, a person has to know the distinction between asset and liability, and what brings income and what has, expenses. If they don't know that, then they're living in la-la land about wealth building. But you can have things that are extremely meaningful that may not bring an immediate ROI. But I'm a firm believer to ask a different question. So I teach people in my programs, in the breakthrough experience, particularly this program, which is my signature program, which I've taught 1,103 times now, that instead of asking yourself, how can I afford something? You want to ask yourself, how do I get handsomely and beautifully paid to do whatever it is I love? So I train people. I took a lady I asked her, what do you love doing? She says, I love spending time with my dog. I showed her how to make $25 million spending time with her dog. She had 3 TV shows. We turned it into a little empire.
I'm taking more notes here.
So all I can say is that it doesn't matter what it is that's inspiring to you. There's always a way of structuring it in such a way that it actually serves people and generates an income. So your vocation and vacation can be the same. You can do what you love and get handsomely paid to do it.
It's so funny. I bring this up because I have never scheduled a vacation. I only take my family on trips where I'm speaking.
Exactly. So
I thought something was wrong with me for that.
No. You want to structure your life where it's working for you instead of you're working for it. That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
If you don't, you're gonna end up at the end of your life having Bonnie Rare's regrets, because you didn't organize and structure your life authentically according to what you really value, and didn't learn how to make the world work in a way where you're getting a return on your life's efforts.
I thought I was a workaholic. Well, I am. But the thing is, looking at these, like I've looked at vacation packages online and these beautiful island packages, there's no way I would spend money to do that, because I can't justify it in my mind to do, even though I bring my family if I get invited to speak on an island, which I'm open to. Anyone?
Well, years ago, I wanted to go to, I wrote a 28-volume text set on cultures of the world.
Oh, wow.
I was intrigued by, the Egyptians and the Mayans and the Incans and these different cultures and the mysteries of these cultures. So I wrote these volumes on it. Then I organized to take groups of 30 to something people or so, 40 people with me, onto those locations, and made it where I was getting paid to go and visit these places. And it was able to be there before and after and everything else, and have it covered in a business expense, and have an incredible vacation and make a few $100,000 going on a vacation.
Wow.
So the way you structure things, where you're making sure that it's a true service to people. And I'm amazed at how many people automatically think, how can I afford, instead of how can I get paid to do what they love? And I reframe that for everybody, because they don't realize that they're sitting on a gold mine, their own creativity, and they haven't utilized it to the fullest. And they're squandering their resources in a way that is self-defeating instead of actually self-appreciating.
That is amazing. Reframing, how can I afford, to how can I get paid?
How can I get handsomely and beautifully paid to do whatever it is that I love to do?
And it's usually of some type of a service, like your dog walker example.
Well, there's absolutely no, well, it wasn't a dog walker. it was a dog. This dog became a model. This became the Milk dog biscuit commercials. I mean, this became, there was a simple thing in a seminar about a person that just wanted to spend time with their dog. We turned it into something quite amazing.
Wow.
But what happens is the quality of your life is based on the quality of the questions you ask. You got to give yourself permission to ask amazing questions if you want an amazing life. And if you don't, you're going to probably just get by on what the average person. The people you hang out with will have an impact on the questions you ask yourself. Mm-hmm. And if people have a smaller view and a smaller concentric sphere of thinking, then they're going to ask a different set of questions that will probably constrain. Mm-hmm. But if you hang out with people that think outside the box, whoa, the box opens. And it's a gift box. That's what's available to people.
And sometimes we don't know people like that in our circle of influence. So that's why we find people like you and you put courses together for that, which is amazing. Tell me a little bit about this course, this application of values for achievement. What is that?
Well, I have 75 courses. This is one of them. This is an online course. As I just got through saying that every human being lives by a set of priorities, set of values. And they don't realize that, but many people have fantasies of what those values are. So this course is about what exactly is it you really value? What does your life demonstrate? Because I'm not interested in what you say, I'm interested in what your life demonstrates. Because those decisions you make are based on what you really value. Then what I do is we find out what the hierarchy of those values are, and then we show them how to maximize all 7 areas of life by integrating those. So for instance, a child in school will not be inspired to learn if they can't see how what that class is going to help them fulfill what they value most. They're not engaged. So I show them by asking new sets of questions, how specifically is this class going to help you fulfill what's meaningful to you? And then we go in there and we make sure they answer that and link that in the brain and remyelinate the brain. So all of a sudden they're engaged and then they absorb the information. We showed them how to do that in their classes so they can excel. I took a 27% pass rate to 97% in Alexandria, South Africa. 27% of the kids were passing in this really rural kind of low income area to 97 in 1 year by showing them how to integrate the values, what they were learning to their highest values. Now when we go over to business, I show how specifically to have people engaged at work by asking, how is this job duty that I'm doing helping me fulfill what is highest on my values? Because once they see that, they're engaged at work. Nobody goes to work for the sake of a company. They go to work to fulfill their values. And then I take the company's mission and I link it there. So that way they're inspired to go to work and they want to go and do something and they don't need to be micromanaged and motivated from the outside extrinsically. Then I go in there and I show them how to reshuffle their value structure so wealth building goes up higher on the list. Because if it's not in the top 4, and I've interviewed thousands, I mean tens of thousands of people with the value, if it's not in the top 4, financial independence doesn't come true. I have to show them how to raise it up. I have this, I call it 6 steps to wealth building, and it's in this program on how to raise it up so you can now see opportunities, take advantage of opportunities, and make yourself wealthier, and how to ask new questions. And the next thing is I go into relationships. When you're in a relationship, if you can't see what they're dedicated to, your partner is dedicated to, what's valuable to them, what's most important to them is serving you, you're going to want to fix them and change them. They want to be loved for who they are. So if you can't see and know how what they're dedicated to is serving you, they're going to feel unfulfilled because they're going to feel like you're trying to fix them and trying to get them to live in your values. So you have to know how to link the values. So I show them in this course how to link values so you can enhance relationships. So you're not sitting there banging your head against the wall, wondering why the relationship's not inspiring. Then I go to leadership and I show people that people who are congruent with their highest values and live by highest priorities and fill their day with the highest priority actions, their life doesn't fill up with low priority distractions that devalue them. And I show them how to wake up their leadership in the area that's inspiring to them most. Because I really believe that you can master a leader area and develop specialized knowledge in it and excel in that area. Then when it comes to physical health and well-being, when you're living by your highest values, you have more resilience, adaptability, and more objectivity. Less emotions of the amygdala region of the brain. You're more in the executive center. When you do, you have more of a balanced physiology and psychology, which gives you the telomeres on the genes. It gives telomerase ability to grow more telomere, more ends, and allows you to live a longer life. You're also more inspired to get up in the morning. And when you do, your day goes by. You're in a timeless mind, ageless body state. And then spiritually, when you're living by your highest values, you're inspired. You're engaged. You're enthused about life. You can't wait to get up in the morning and do that. And you're onto a mission, a true spiritual mission that's not traditional or conventional. It's yours. And you deserve to have your own path of spirituality, whatever that means for you, regardless of what the world expects around you. So this program is about how to empower those 7 areas by living congruently and authentically according to values and using value applications to master those areas.
So that's the way that you have taken these areas of life, helped people identify through a series of questions and processes what their true value is in order to live life in a more meaningful way in all areas.
Perfect. Because until you value yourself, don't expect others to, in the world to. Until you feel that your life is filled with meaning, it's up to you. So this is about, instead of living in hedonism and looking for immediate gratification, which eventually costs you your life, it's about eudaimonic well-being and wellness, and about having meaning in life, like Viktor Frankl described, and having something that, because that's what distinguishes us from the other primates and other animals. They can go for hedonism, anybody can do that, but meaning is where it's at. That's where you feel that you can say thank you, have tears of gratitude at night, and you look in the mirror and you can say thank you, I love you, and that's the way to live your life. So that's
wow, and that is something worth getting up for, worth eating right for, worth having happy relationships for. And it all gets, what's so amazing about this conversation, John, is that it all happens with a switch of a mindset. You don't have to take a pill. You don't have to, lose 100 pounds. It all happens right here.
Well, the greatest pharmaceutical company on the planet is inside your cortex and your brain.
That's true.
And so sitting there going to a second-rate pharmaceutical company to guess about what your chemistry is, I'm absolutely certain, I've been teaching and studying chemistry and brain functions for 40-something years. I'm absolutely certain that the questions you ask can alter every one of the hormones and transmitters in your brain. And I'm interested in showing people how to do that, so they can take command of their own pharmaceutical company. Instead of having them have the big companies and you have the little houses, why don't you have the big life? That's the
There's so much more evidence now coming out that is stating how true that is. Lots of scientific research studies around that very thought. It's going to become the meme very soon, maybe 20 years, but it works. It absolutely does. You can produce all sorts of, and the great thing about it is that when you produce those chemicals in your own brain, then your own body regulates those chemicals rather than a pill outside not being able to adapt to your body's regulation.
There's no way the intellect, all the Nobel Prize winners and professor emeritus from around the world could get together in a conference and could work in a lab, and they still couldn't create a single cell. And yet we got trillions of them. The wisdom that's sitting inside our body it's far greater and exceeds any collection of greatest minds on the planet. And 3.9 to 4.2 billion years ago, there was already a cell here that still exceeds our knowledge. So we have to capitalize on the internal mastery by living congruently to help master and to maximize the potential of our own physiology and psychology. So to me, that's way more intelligent than trying to do it artificially. Because the reason why we're doing it artificially is because we want immediate gratification. We don't want to take accountability. And we think that that's a quicker route. But in the long run, it costs. Wiser to be a master of your destiny and captain of your ship, not a victim of your history.
Yep. Isn't that great that we are our own pharmacies? I absolutely love that. Well, when you're looking at this interview, if you just go down below, you'll see a link and you'll be able to see it's theawareshow.com/values. And you will see this link to John Demartini's course on values, basically finding and determining your own value system for achievement, shifting your values a little bit. Maybe possibly at the end of this course, you realize that the values you thought were the ones that were running your life are not. And I've done that. I've specifically found that out once or twice in my life. Values change. They can, right?
Yes. Well, the thing is that if you're setting goals that are congruent with your highest values, or you're changing your values that are congruent with your goals, you can have fulfillment. But if those are not congruent, you've got an internal conflict, and that is where we end up self-depreciating instead of self-amazement. So the wisest thing to do is determine what the values are. Then once you look at it, you go, oh, no wonder my life is the way it is. You'll have a clear understanding of that. Then you have a choice. Either set goals around that and quit going off on friggin' crazy tangents, or structure it. I'm going to show you both of those in the program. the Value Applications Program to empower your life. I'm going to show you how to do both of those so you can decide which one you want. Do you want to shift some values so you can have wealth in your life or a relationship? I see this all the time. A lot of women come up to me and say, well, I don't seem to be able to get my mate, my soulmate or whatever. And what they've got is wounds of the past, making sure they don't. And that they're fantasizing and talking about, I want this mate, but really deep inside in their unconscious, they've got all these wounds sitting there. So I show you how to change the perception around that so you can actually open the doorway again, because you've got it unconsciously shut down. So there's different applications with the values that I think this is an amazing educational experience.
Oh my goodness, it's great that you've been able to put it into a program. Is even better that you are actually stopped traveling long enough to record something like this, because that means a lot. And we can't always, find you as an independent coach, since you're traveling over, that you put it in a way that people can actually learn and really make a difference in their lives is fantastic. Once again, go to the link below, theawareshow.com/values. This is for everyone who is looking, as I mentioned earlier, to improve the quality of your human beingness, of who you are, so that you can be a mentor to your friends, your family, your coworkers. And I absolutely love, John, that you mentioned that you can still find and determine and tweak your values as an employee. There's a lot of talk about entrepreneurship and start your own business. If you have a good job and you want to climb the ladder within that job, do it. Yeah.
I tell people, give yourself permission to do something extraordinary on planet Earth. Because the real you is more magnificent than any fantasy you impose on yourself. And accessing the real you, the bigness of the giant within, if you will, is much more profound than sitting in the shrunken end up at the shrink. I think that's not the answer. The shrunken you is not as powerful. I'm absolutely certain. I have a 6-year-old girl that came to my Breakthrough Experience program. By the time she was 7, she published her first book. By 8, she had her second book. She's a professional speaker. She's 12 today. Okay, so that's what's possible. I have another guy who I first had a student who's 8 years old. He's now 12. No, probably he's 15. He's 15 now. He's got his own foundation. I have another girl that's now signed a multi-million-dollar deal with Disney. She started at 9. Another girl has her own clothes fashion company as a fashion model today. 15. So,
what about on the upper age range, like in the 70s, 80s?
I've seen people at 72 who thought they were retired and was running down and depreciating. They started a new consulting company, made more money than they did the years before. So I've seen it all ages. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you've done. It doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter what you're going through. What matters, are you willing to do the things that have proven to work now? If you do, your life changes today. It doesn't have to wait till someday in the future. It can happen today.
Yep, you can seize the moment. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, John. You are a wealth of information. I'm so grateful to have just this time to speak with you. Is inspiring. It is, you're offering more than hope. You're offering practical solutions that every single person, no matter what age or your background, can do. No excuses here.
Yes,
thank you so much.
I'm absolutely certain that people can do the things that I'm sharing, because it's pointless for me to share something that's not going to help somebody. So
that's a waste of time. Wow, you're a great mentor. Thank you so much, John. And remember to go to the website down below, which is theawareshow.com/values. I could talk to you all day, but my YouTube listeners have this attention span. So we're gonna wrap up.
We'll do it again, hopefully. We'll do it again.
Sounds great. Thank you so much, John. Take care.
Good chatting with you. Thank you.
Thanks. All right. Wow, that sounds fantastic. I'm actually going to take this course, Application of Values for Achievement. Sounds amazing and life-changing. Isn't that great that we can offer such life-changing information in less than 30 minutes?
There's nothing more inspiring than, I don't know. I'm sure other people think different things about their career, but getting to do what we do is pretty inspiring.
Yes. Takes the lid off of everything.
Yes.
All right, take care. Thank you. And until next time, I invite you to stay aware.
I want to talk with you briefly about stress management. Stress is always going to come up in your life. Life does not go smoothly or perfectly, especially if you're on the path of wanting to grow personally. So this is one of the ways that I manage stress. As it comes up, I'm very, very careful not to let it consume me. I find breaks and moments of my day that I'm able to do something for myself, take care of myself, take deep breaths and feel the bottom of my lungs. I know that stress happens, and very, very large stressful things happen. The worst kind is those that you can't resolve immediately. So don't let it use you. Instead, find places and times in your life where you can have stress breaks. Go on a walk, breathe deeply, listen to great music, go on a bike ride, which is my favorite thing to do, and just take little mini stress breaks in your life, because stress is going to always be there. So it's how you manage it that makes the biggest difference. And always, I invite you to stay aware.
Thank you so much for watching this episode of The Aware Show. Please leave a comment below and let me know what you think. And also, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I will give you some of my favorite bonus gifts. So if you want to subscribe also to my newsletter, you can find the link in the description below. Thank you so much, and until next time, I invite you to stay aware.